So, as everyone knows, we're getting closer to the 2026 midterm elections. And with that, the Senate Republicans are running out of time to pass literally anything. Seriously, they've had a year and a half to pass anything they wanted to do. They could have passed anything by now. And so far, they passed the big, beautiful bill, which, yes, did contain a lot of Trump's main agenda. That's true. But outside of that, can anyone point to a single thing of note that these assholes have done? They have done next to nothing despite having both chambers of Congress and the White House. They have done nothing. They can't even pass the Save America Act. And I know we've been talking about this for months now, but this is a 90-10 issue we're talking about. We're not talking about some controversial 50-50 issue. No, even among Democrats, core parts of it, like voter ID, is supported by everybody except the most radical people on the left. Outside of that, everybody supports what's in the Save America Act. Yet the GOP, for whatever reason, they have done everything they can to stop this bill from passing. It is just insane to think about for 5 seconds. Seriously, you can't even pass a 90-10 issue? Well, despite their incompetence, the White House is attempting one final push for one final mega bill before the 2026 midterms. And this bill would include most of the other stuff we want to accomplish before Democrats potentially take the House in January 2027. Of course, there still is that chance that Republicans shock the world and expand their House majority. But right now, yeah, Democrats, they probably win the House. But Republicans still have time to get through one final bill to get everything else they want done through, which I cannot believe it's taking this much political capital and time and effort to even have a chance at this. The fact that we can't even pass the most basic of things because of Tom Tillis and John Cornyn, it's insane. But the White House, they realize, hey, wait a second here. Come January, there is a chance we don't actually have another opportunity to pass another version of the big, beautiful bill. We have one final shot at this in the next couple of months. White House officials will press Senate Republicans behind closed doors Wednesday to pass a blueprint for another GOP-only mega bill before they leave for the August recess, but save any possible debt ceiling increase for later. Which, if I'm being honest here, I think this is a dumb idea. If you're going to push through this mega bill that includes everything we want, why not try to do the debt ceiling stuff now? Because you know, if you wait till September or October for the debt ceiling, you know what Democrats are going to do. They're going to do everything they can to block it. They're going to keep the government shut down for as long as they can right before the midterms. That's why I think this is stupid. If you're going to do this mega bill, go 100%. Don't half-ass it and say, yeah, we'll accomplish part of it now and wait until October. No, Democrats want that to happen. They want the debt ceiling stuff to go in effect in October or September. If you do it now, they lose that leverage. They lose that ability to play games, shut down the government, and basically hold the country hostage. I don't get why they don't do this now. Include the debt ceiling stuff now so you don't have the chance of it blowing up in your face come September. Senate Republican leaders have been skeptical that there is the time or the votes to get it done. President Trump and his team disagrees. And let's be honest here, the White House is right. This is like the 10th time these assholes like John Thune have said there's not enough votes, there's not enough support. The reality is there would be enough support if John Thune, who is the majority leader, he is supposed to be the leader, and also a former whip, yet you can't get the votes for the most basic of things? Seriously? If you can't get the votes for this stuff, you should not be the leader. If you can get the votes for this stuff and you refuse to, you should not be the leader. You see the issue with this? He is full of shit. You know how we know this? Not only does Mike Johnson prove this in the House, where despite dealing with Thomas Massey, Don Bacon, Michael Lawler, he's able to pass basically anything he wants to pass. It takes a while, it's very difficult, but he does the job. Not only that, but John Thune was playing the same game last year. People forget about this. In June of 2025, right before the final votes on the big, beautiful bill, he went on record and said, yeah, I don't know if we have 51 votes. I don't know if we're going to get that. He had doubts about it. He was saying, there's a chance this fails. And we all know what happened. It was a close vote, but it passed. He was saying the same crap then. They keep making excuses every time the White House asks John Thune to do the bare minimum. It's always excuses. It's always, we can't do this. We don't got the votes. And then when it comes to the final vote, they have enough. He is full of shit. He does this every single time. So yeah, that's why I don't believe him. Fine, once or twice, that's one thing. Every time Trump has asked him to pass anything, it's always the same excuses. White House officials want the Senate to build in flexibility to jam through as much of the Save America Act as possible, and they're insisting it can be crafted to avoid tough amendment votes. And that's what this is about, the Save America Act. The fact it has yet to pass the Senate is an embarrassment. I know Democrats are blocking it for some weird reasons, but seriously, this is a 90-10 issue. Even among Democrats, we're talking about a very popular piece of legislation. And it's not extreme, it's just common sense. Voter ID, proof of citizenship. I know people are getting sick of it, I get it. But seriously, that's all we're asking for. And they keep saying, nope, we can't. We can't do it because Tom Tillis is worried about January 6th. It is dumb. But this is the final Hail Mary from the White House. They want to pass the Save America Act for obvious reasons. And really, the only way they could do it now, barring a sudden change to the filibuster, it's through reconciliation. You have to do it this way. I know it gets complicated, but if you really want to pass it, you have to try through reconciliation. Office of Management and Budget Director Russell Vaught, Legislative Affairs Director James Braid, and former House Speaker Newt Gingrich will speak at Senate Republicans' weekly lunch on Wednesday. Vaught and Braid will make a three-point pitch for passing a budget resolution to kick off Reconciliation 3.0. They'll argue it should be the GOP's priority to pay our troops, help our farms, and secure our elections. A senior White House official told Axios, man, doesn't this sound controversial? Yeah, we want to pay our troops. We want to secure our elections. And by the way, help our farmers out. This is somehow controversial. This is somehow an insane push. Really? This is generic stuff. Stuff that even most Democrats would support. I just cannot believe that it's taking this much effort by the White House to do anything like this. I just think about it for a second. They can't do the bare minimum. They have to have the White House beg and really force them to get off their ass and do anything like this. The White House wants to send it by the end of the next week to pass a similar resolution to the one that the House passed earlier this month. The resolution outlines $73 billion in funding for defense, $12 billion in farm aid, and a $10 billion fund aimed at incentivizing states to adopt elements of the Save America Act. And that's how they're going to try to do it. They're going to say, okay, California or Illinois, you want some money? You have to adopt the Save America Act, or you get nothing. The resolution addresses the two most popular parts of SAVE for Republicans, requiring photo ID to vote and proof of citizenship to register. Man, that's some controversial stuff, isn't it? Seriously, that's all they're asking for. Photo ID and proof of citizenship. That's all. Not everything else. It's just part of the Save America Act that even Democrats would theoretically support, That's all they're asking for. I cannot believe it's gotten to the point where they had to beg like this just for them to maybe consider, yeah, we might support this. Maybe. Really? What a freaking joke. White House officials plan to make the argument to Republicans that the reconciliation blueprint should include instructions for a large number of committees, whether that's 8 or 10 or more. The idea is to provide flexibility to pass as much of the SAVE Act as possible if the parliamentarian raises concerns about jurisdiction. For example, if a provision dealing with driver licenses end up falling under the Commerce Committee's jurisdiction. That's the idea here. Basically, no matter what games she tries to play, you could theoretically get around that. The fact the White House has to make this plan for the Senate GOP is sad, but whatever. At least they should understand now that, hey, maybe we can get around this. If we just have a bunch of committees working on this, yeah, we're not going to get every single thing we want, but the likelihood of it passing goes up significantly. Majority Leader John Thune told reporters Tuesday evening that Reconciliation 3.0 is going to become a much more comprehensive process that could create instructions to up to a dozen committees. Okay? Is he really making this big of a deal of doing his damn job? Seriously? Yeah, it's been complicated. Who gives a shit? The fact he's even talking about this at all is stupid. When he says stuff like this, that means, oh my God, I don't want to do this. This is too complicated. He's like complaining about it. Yeah, it's going to include a dozen committees. You've had a full year and a half to pass this. You've had plenty of time to figure stuff out. Hell, I'm pretty sure John Thune himself a couple months ago said they were discussing plans to try to pass the SAVE Act through another way. Like try to figure out a way to pass the Save America Act through a different means. You're telling me that you've done next to nothing to figure out any kind of plan? Even though you know this is the White House's biggest fucking bill they want through? Seriously? Who cares? Oh, it includes a dozen committees. Yeah? If it takes a dozen committees, if it takes 50, it doesn't matter. Pass the damn bill. And just a little bit ago, John Thune says he'll only call off the August recess for the Save America Act if he obtains 50 votes for budget reconciliation, assuming SAVE is attached. Seriously? So he's gonna do the bare minimum here. He's gonna try to do the bare minimum shit and say, well, I will call off the recess if we get 50 votes. How about you say, I'm going to get 50 votes, we're going to call off the August recess and force this through? Why is it always if? How about, yeah, we're going to try to do this. I just cannot believe that it's taken this much effort and this much time and this much pressure from the White House to even have a chance at this. You are the majority leader. Tell your colleagues you're going to vote yes on this. You are a part of the conference. You are a team player, allegedly. Therefore, you're going to vote yes on this. This is a 90-10 fucking issue. And the fact that we have to play all these games to maybe have a chance. So there's a chance that they don't even pass this before August, which is stupid. If you don't pass it before August, cancel the recess. You would think everyone on the right would be fine with this. You would think all these senators would be perfectly fine with this. They would cancel their own recess if they cared about this bill so much, like John Thune allegedly says he does. Like he's doing everything he can to pass it. Okay, cancel the recess or delay it until you get this through. Should be easy. You would think if they all allegedly support this, they could get this done in like a week if they really wanted to. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.